From there, if your name begins with the letters A through J, Alvarez to Johnson, you'll go to Cambodia. K through M, you go to Argentina. N through T to El Salvador. U through Z, Haiti. There, you will begin your new lives as peasants under the thumb of a friendly foreign dictator. And there, if you choose, you can study hard and try to qualify for a higher paying job, say a doctor or a lawyer. Then we'll welcome you back, and once again, you'll be live from New York. It's Saturday night!
All right, hello. This is Not Ready for Season 6, where we discuss the oft-maligned 6th season of Saturday Night Live. We want to know, did it have promise? Is it as brutal and bad as some people have said? And we just want to explore some of the nuances that make this an interesting transitional season of Saturday Night Live. Joining me, my partner in crime, my co-host on Pop Culture 5, wherever you get your podcasts, Jeremy Dove. What's up, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I feel we got a pretty bad one out the way last week.
Oh, did we? Yeah.
Yeah. We got one that, I'm glad we got it out the way early, and I'm refreshed. I'm rested. I'm ready to go for this episode, man.
I was hoping. Yeah. Last week was, I mentioned, is it as brutal as people? Well, last week's episode was as brutal and bad as many people have said. That was a rough one. But we have high hopes still. We're still optimistic, I think, in general about what could lie ahead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All in all, this is it's first world problems. If the worst thing was you rewatch that episode of a classic show
exactly.
and it was bad. So all in all, still positive, still curious to see just how these performers and writers and how everyone really develops over this season. So I'm still optimistic and excited and, hashtag justice for Gene, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. So we move forward from the Malcolm McDowell episode this week, episode 3 of season 6, with host Ellen Burstyn and musical guests Keith Sykes and Miss Aretha Franklin. And Jeremy, before I start, I think I owe Ellen Burstyn a little bit of an apology because I joked about tabbing her about SNL tabbing her as host when it had been 7 years since she starred in The Exorcist and stuff. Well, in 1980, she received a Best Actress nomination for her role as Edna Mae Macaulay in Resurrection. So she was doing relevant work and was a fine choice to host SNL. She was an Oscar-nominated actress for a movie that came out that year in 1980. She had won for Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. She had been nominated in 1978. So I owe Ellen Burstyn an apology. She was relevant around this time.
I do too. She's someone I know, and I see her, I'm like, Ellen, I know her name.
Requiem for a Dream.
But it's
20 years after this.
Yeah, The Exorcist is always just the go-to. Exactly. And that's shame on us.
Yeah, I think we were riding the bad vibes from the Malcolm McDowell episode.
Absolutely.
And we were just projecting onto Ellen.
Yeah, sorry, Ellen.
She was catching strays when she didn't need to.
Yeah,
so
I
apologize, Ellen Burstyn, for that. So do you want to get into the episode?
Absolutely.
All right, so we start with the cold open. It's a message from David Rockefeller, played by Charles Rocket.
If your name begins with the letters A through J, Alvarez to Johnson, you'll go to Cambodia. K through M, you go to Argentina. N through T to El Salvador. U through Z, Haiti.
He's laying out a new plan to eliminate poverty in the United States. He said the U.S. is going co-op. So, Jeremy, the plan's essentially to keep the rich people and evict the poor people from the country. And they have a whole system, depending on your last name, that dictates what country you go to. What did you think of this cold open?
I thought it was funny. I kind of thought the concept was good, especially what was going into, waiting for, at the time, President-elect Reagan. He's about a month and a half from being sworn in. And so a lot of people have a lot of thoughts, and especially being a history fan like I am, knowing the campaign that Reagan ran in 1980 And also looking back, knowing what the Reagan years were in the 80s, I feel like it was very dead on for 1980 and sadly dead on for now. So I thought it was a very good concept. I thought it was just the right amount of length. Like, it wasn't too long. Charles Rocket delivered it very solid. And I really did like this cold open.
Yeah, Charles is really good as like a rich, evil asshole.
Yes.
Who he's depicting David Rockefeller as here. And I agree with you about the length. I think it's short, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. And for cold opens, I don't mind something short and simple. And it's because it's just a way to just kind of get everybody adjusted to the show and just kind of just like a short. Cold opens shouldn't be, in my opinion, cold opens shouldn't be like a normal sketch part of the show. Right. I think it has a different purpose.
I agree. And that's why I like the variety and time on cold opens. If you're doing an elaborate, like a presidential debate on one episode, like, I don't mind it being longer. But if you're not doing something like a big concept thing, you don't have to hit like it has to be this amount of length. It could be quick and right to the point. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm mostly positive about this cold open. Honestly, I think it was really good. I think this is the kind of voice we had talked about. Mason Williams, who was the head writer, and he would be head writer for 5 episodes. So at this point, he's still the head writer. And I think this is the kind of voice that he wanted the show to have. He wanted a lot of social commentary, a lot of political commentary. And I think we got that here in kind of a short burst. I think it had something to say. It didn't elaborate, but that's fine. It's a cold open. I think it was a really great cold open. I was like surprised. Like, I guess coming off the Malcolm McDowell episode, I was like, okay, let's hit play. But then this happened, and I'm like, man, it's like thumbs up.
Yeah, I really have. There's not really any critiques I have. I think the concept's good. I thought what he said was really funny throughout it, and being like, talking, speaking that truth to power. And I think it was like, yeah, that's what a lot of people were fearing about the Reagan administration, and he was just speaking that. So I think he really nailed it, and it's honestly like a no-notes cold open for me.
Yeah, for sure. And Jeremy, your last name starts with a D, so you would go to Cambodia.
Right.
Unfortunately, and then I would go to El Salvador under this U.S. co-op plan.
Yeah.
So, good cold open, solid start to the episode. We go to Ellen Burstyn's monologue. She didn't say much, but honestly, I really liked her, and I really liked this monologue. I think you didn't need to. It was less than 2 minutes, but to me, it achieved everything you wanted to achieve from a monologue.
In King of Marvin Gardens, I shot and killed Bruce Dern, and in Dream of Passion, I murdered my 3 children altogether. So I say it is time to lighten up.
And especially comparing it to what Malcolm McDowell did the week before.
Oof. He told a story about getting a visa. Yeah.
It was just rambling and like, what are we doing here? I thought she brought high energy, talking about like, her birthday, midnight, all that stuff. She showed excitement to want to be there, which is what the show needed. You needed celebrities to feel like they want to be on Saturday Night Live. That's what the first 5 years had. So I love that she showed that. I liked her joke about the Exorcist, character, mother of a child with a slight personality disorder. That made me laugh too.
Yeah.
And she just said she was excited. Talked about how she's feeling good in her 40s. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. I think the goal of a monologue is just to introduce us to the host. Let's kind of gauge their personality, see if they might be like a good fit. We just want to get introduced to them, and sometimes it takes less than 2 minutes. You don't need to overstay. Again, you don't need to overstay your welcome with this stuff.
And she did a good job of talking about how, kind of like what you said opening, like the characters she had been playing throughout the 70s were intense characters. They were like, from Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. All these different roles were intense. So she was like, I'm kind of done with that. I want to have some fun. So I kind of even like that they referenced and brought in her career, because that kind of helped me be like, oh yeah, she has done other stuff besides The Exorcist. Like this monologue was the first time I was like, I might have made a mistake here. Like, go ahead, Ellen. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. And she's done with those intense characters until 20 years later when she plays a drug-addicted mom in her late 60s.
Got to go back to the well sometimes now.
Yeah, for sure. Requiem for a Dream.
Yep.
Keep going back to that. I really like her in that. But yeah, less than 2 minutes. I think a fantastic monologue, really good start to the episode. I'm like super pleasantly surprised
Same. I was
by
enjoying
this episode so far. Yeah, so the first sketch, it's a live sketch. It's Ed McMahon, School of Laughing. So we find out how basically you can get paid to record your laugh for TV laugh track.
We'll teach you how at the Ed McMahon School of Laughing. You'll learn the chortle, the famous snort laugh, the comic hoot.
I thought this was interesting. Up top, I'll say this was maybe one of the two weakest sketches for me of the night.
I thought it was weak. I wasn't really into it. What I will say is you see the promise of what Joe Piscopo would become. Mm-hmm. So I like that maybe the writers, producers, the network, I feel like they're seeing Joe Piscopo and they're like, put him in more things. Because I feel like this episode, you're highlighting Joe more than you did the first two. So I don't know who came up, but like somebody is seeing that Joe Piscopo has that Dan Aykroyd-esque quality about him.
Yes.
We need to put this guy on. And I really did like that about this episode. But with all that being said, I feel like some of the things he was in throughout, including this sketch, were kind of like not hitting the mark. They were still trying to figure out Joe's voice and where to go with Joe.
Yeah, I think he works really well as a pitch man. And then the Dan Aykroyd comparison, that's where it's spot on because Danny, still to this day, might be like the all-time great pitch man in SNL history,
yes,
you know?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Joe showed a real talent for being that very wordy, hyper pitch man, I think. And I think it's a fine premise to me, like recording your laugh for TV laugh tracks, and it's different types of laughs, and then they have the like the oohs and the ahs and the cute reaction to a cute baby. I do have one kind of weird thing. It's called Ed McMahon School of Laughing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is there nobody doing an Ed McMahon impression?
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Where's Ed McMahon?
I was going to bring, and I was thinking, I feel like from the first 3 episodes, I'm like, I don't think they hired anyone who can do impressions.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake. Like, you got to have, if you don't have a bunch of people, you got to have somebody on the cast. I feel like one male cast member and one female who can be at least decent at impressions, but that's what's missing, especially thinking of the future with like Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey doing the Carson McMahon.
Hartman was a great McMahon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's what's needed here to put this sketch over the edge.
Yeah, I know where our Ed McMahon impersonator was. He was doing the pitchman role.
You think so? You think Joe could have nailed that?
I think Joe probably, I don't know if he would have nailed it, but I think he would have come the closest out of anybody in this cast. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You see Joe do Sinatra later on.
Yeah, exactly. I think he could have been the best bet to do it. You're right. Like out of the men on the cast, we don't have any impressionists other than Joe. So if you need 2 impressions in a sketch, you're just kind of shit out of luck.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. But I wonder, let's say they have Joe do the impression and they probably would have gone with Charles Rocket to be the pitch man. Do you think it still works though?
I might have been willing to sacrifice Joe as a pitch man to see how he would have done an Ed McMahon, and to see just to see how Charles would have been a pitch man. I don't know. It's interesting. It just kind of it really definitely something like this shows like the deficit because you call something Ed McMahon, and I know why they called it that because Ed's known for just kind of being the laughing sidekick to Carson. But then that's an implicit promise of Ed McMahon being in the sketch. That's
what I was thinking too. So I do think. From what I've seen of Charles Rocket, I don't like him as a pitchman, even though he's got the look for it. Yeah. I don't feel like he has the delivery, but I think if Joe could nail a McMahon, you could overcome Charles not being the best pitchman to make this a better sketch.
True. Very, very true. I thought when I saw the title of the sketch, I thought it was going to be Ed McMahon teaching people how to laugh.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. Yeah, so this subverted expectations, but maybe not in the best way. But I think Joe salvaged a little bit of it for me with just like, I like watching him perform and watching him do this pitch man. So not terrible. Not a terrible start here. I think if it's one of probably in my opinion the 2 worst of the night, then it's not like a real bummer of a night.
Right.
honestly.
I agree.
So
I agree.
yeah, so I think it might be a decent sign about that. So next we have recurring characters. We have a couple characters coming back. Pinky and Leo are back doing
I
what
was
did
excited.
we call it? Like a proto coffee talk
Pretty much like
kind of
a
thing.
coffee talk before coffee talk.
Oh, tonight it is our pleasure to have with us Eileen Bernstein.
The actors.
That's Ellen Burstyn, Pinky.
Oh, my God. I've got it wrong on the card. It must be a typo.
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
I was excited when I saw this coming back. I was like, okay, I wanted to see them give it. I hope that they would give another try to it. I really like Denny Dillon, in this character doing Pinky and stuff like that.
She's great.
She's awesome. And I thought, man, we've been tough on Gilbert these first 2 episodes, rightfully so. I thought Gilbert was much improved in this sketch. I enjoyed him. I really enjoyed him.
He was a lot better. I think maybe he felt more like relaxed, or it was just his timing was maybe a little better. The interaction between him and Denny maybe was a little more smooth. I don't know. It just seemed like Gilbert was just more in the scene this time than last time. And Denny she's turning into, aside from Piscopo, and we'll get to the obvious who was going to be everybody's favorite, but Denny's like up there. She's top 2 for me so far.
Denny so far is just like, hate to foreshadow, but if people don't know, but like, why did they get rid of her at the end of the season? Like that, I would love to ask those in higher ups, like why? Because to me, you could have done a lot with Denny Dillon, and she would have been great with, once Julia Louis-Dreyfus got there, Mary Gross. Like I think she would have been awesome. So I'm confused on why they got rid of her.
Yeah, go back and listen to Brad and Gary's interview with Denny Dillon. Denny, that's a really neat pull that Brad and Gary got, being able to get Denny on the show. Right. And I think Denny is proving to be one of the lost, really nice talents that SNL has had, and she's been kind of lost to history from being in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I liked Ellen Burstyn even more than Ellie Gold. Like, I think Ellen did a good job. At first, I kind of was like, oh, she's just there. But then when she starts flirting with, Leo, played by Gilbert, and seeing how Pinky gets jealous, I was like, okay, Ellen, you are making your way in this sketch. I like it.
Yeah. So this was a thumbs up from me. I'm glad they brought back these characters. They're giving the characters time to grow, and we already saw that growth with Gilbert playing Leo. So I really like this, and I hope it becomes a semi-normal thing. I hope we get it at least a couple more times this season.
Yeah. I felt like in the first episode when they did this, Denny was funnier in that sketch than she was in this one. But the fact that Gilbert improved so much, and Ellen, I think, did more than what Elliot Gould did, that overall, I would say this one was better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So that was the second of hopefully a few more Pinky and Leo sketches. What's it all about is the title of that. So next we have the Rocket Report. It's back to us. To me, I don't want to speak for you, but to me, I think this is the kind of where Charles can shine in something like this. If you're going to give Charles his own kind of thing, I think the Rocket Report's probably the best use of him. So he's reporting this time from the Staten Island ferry, and Charles has a theory that everyone on the ferry spent their time in the city just having sex.
Well, newcomers may get nervous, but the veterans remain cool. They've adjusted to a life of sex. In the long run, all these people learn to lie about what it is they actually do during the day, in the same way that an alcoholic will lie about his drinking habits. These people are willing to make up stories about real jobs that they pretend to have.
Like they're lying about going to their jobs, but they're really just out in the city having sex. So he asked them about it.
I thought this was hilarious, honestly. This is the best I've seen Charles Rocket so far this season. His facial expressions into the camera, when people are saying like their occupations and what they're doing, and him, I thought he nailed it.
Yeah,
and he's like,
looking
they're all
into the camera like,
right, yeah. Like he was great. This is one that when I first saw this like sketch, like this, open up, and he's sitting down with the one gentleman with the hat on, I was like, okay, where's he going with this? I'm like, I don't know if this is going to land. And then after that, it was just knocking it out the park. I thought this is the funniest thing Charles Rocket has done on the show so far was this one, right? This Rocket Report right here.
Yeah, and proves our theory that the Rocket Report needs to be, that's the right playground for Charles Rocket, man.
I don't know why I'd rather having Joe do Weekend Update and then you throw it to Charles doing Weekend Update, doing the Rocket Report. Like, I don't understand why you're giving Charles Rocket this double duty.
Well, I had forgotten, and we'll get to this. I was going to get to this during Weekend Update, but I guess now's a good time. I forgot that Charles Rocket actually has a news or real life news anchor background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why he was actually a news anchor in real life, and so that's probably kind of lazy because they're just like, oh, he was a news anchor. Let's have him do Weekend Update. But it's totally different skill sets, and it's a different muscle.
That's
being a real
fascinating.
News anchor. Yeah,
that makes sense. Why he's not good at it.
Yeah, no, agreed.
You know what I mean? Because it's always like what I hear when people like play Guitar Hero or Rock Band, like real guitarists are like, you can't, if you know how to play the guitar, you can't do this.
Exactly.
And it's like, he was a real broadcaster, newsman. He doesn't know how to spoof a newsman. Like, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, to me, that was just lazy casting. That was just, they were just sort of like, well, Charles has done news. Let's have him do this. So that's why, I'm pretty sure that's why he's the update anchor. But this is where he shines. In a man on the street, sarcastic. I like the editing. So they relied on editing a lot to like kind of show the joke and imply kind of the joke, and they had suggestive joke telling and this and that. So this was probably so far like the best thing Charles has done.
Oh yeah, and I think this is I feel like I've said it on the other episodes where they're trying to make him the Chevy of this season and the new breakout star. But when he does this is the closest I see him to doing like Chevy and nailing it. Because like to me in the first season, if Chevy did this, I could see Chevy really doing great with something like this. And I think Charles Rocket brings that Chevy, especially seeing him make those facial expressions in this episode and look at I'm like, that's a classic like Chevy Chase move. So I really love this one, honestly.
Yeah, good job, Charles. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. We've been hard on him, but credit where credit's due. Yes,
knocked out the park.
Absolutely. So next sketch, video date. So Gail Mathias plays a woman working at a video dating service, and she's helping Paulie Herman, played by Joe Piscopo, with his video.
Tell us your name.
Paulie Herman.
Where are you from, Paulie?
I'm from Jersey. Are you from Jersey? I'm from Jersey.
So I immediately liked the look on Joe's face. Like, to me, it was amusing. Like, just looking at his face, like, okay, something silly, something funny, something silly is going to happen. And I seem to remember, I think this is a recurring character, Paulie Herman, for Joe. But I like this sketch because it's, to me, I just had a lot of fun watching Joe go to work here.
I thought his face was huge for this. The jokes were kind of flat to me. They were like not there. But his facial expressions, I agree with, like kind of cracked me up seeing so it was almost like when he was silent, it was funnier than when he was talking, you know? But I would say this was, if out of like 4-star, I give it like 2.5, because I feel like there's something there if they can punch up the jokes better. But Joe, just being a talented, comedic actor, was making it work and doing well with his face. And then also Gail was good in her frustrations with Paulie. That made me laugh too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like I see potential with this character in this kind of basis, but it was like the jokes weren't there. I don't blame Joe. I blame the writing.
Yeah, good shout out to Gail, actually, for being a good straight person.
Yeah,
to Joe's kind of more wacky side. They were making jokes at New Jersey's expense. I didn't know, living in a neighboring state, I didn't know if you caught or appreciated the New Jersey jokes in this.
I always appreciate making fun of New Jersey. As someone from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and friends throughout my life with a lot of people from New Jersey, went to grade school in New Jersey, there is nothing better than someone making fun of New Jersey, because I still stand by it. It could be 80 degrees, bright and sunny in PA. Where I live now is like a 10-minute drive. I can get over the bridge to Jersey. I cross over to Jersey, it's just cloudy. And I'm like, this is symbolic of what's going on here. So
It's right at the state line.
It's right at the state line. It's
cloudy.
Like you step over PA side, bright and sunny. Other side, cloudy. And that's how it feels every time I go to Jersey.
I pulled Jeremy's string, and then we got a string of Jersey jokes.
I was trying to keep it in, but I'm like, no way.
I'm like, I hope Jeremy appreciates this.
Yeah.
I love like the subtle when she said she's from Jersey, and he's like, really, what exit? Like, to me, I think that was kind of like a subtle dig, is that's how New Jersey maybe, like, that's what people think of them, is just a series of exits throughout.
Well, because they're not labeled. It's just numbers.
Yeah.
And I've heard Joe say that, like, 'cause Joe Piscopo is really from Jersey, and he likes that. And I remember watching him, this is a few years ago, say that he likes that. Yeah, you got to know where to go. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing.
I know.
That's why the state's so annoying. Have a name on the exit.
I know. I noticed that we drove through New Jersey on our way from like Charlotte to Boston. We passed through New Jersey, and I noticed that. I even told that to Melinda when we were in the car. I'm like, this is numbers. The state has no like names for their exits.
I'm like, it's the dumbest thing. But like, it's also the dumbest thing to be proud of too. That's why I know what he's doing when he's saying like, what exit? Like, you know, give it like only like a Jersey person knows it. I'm like, all right, you guys got that.
So I think Joe, to me, made this fun to watch. You're right about the facial expressions. When Gail said, let's talk about women, and Joe's like, wow. And then he gave like the quick eyebrow raises. I'm like, that's good, like physical comedy right there. And
he made it work.
He did. I enjoyed watching this, and I think it was the perfect length. I don't think it was too long or too short. I think it was a really nice length.
I agree with that.
And it seems like this is going to be a recurring character.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if we see more Polly Herman, but the night hasn't sucked. I don't think.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's why we got to bounce in our step right now. So let's continue some of the momentum. We have the legendary Aretha Franklin. I was really excited about this. She's performing United Together.
So glad my search is over, darling, I'm so glad I believe together. I finally found the one who loved me forever.
Jeremy, I just love listening to Aretha. I would have loved a more upbeat song. And truth be told, I thought this was going to be her only song because she was double billed with Keith Sykes. So I'm like, we're just getting one Aretha song. So I was when I was watching this, I was like, I wish the one Aretha song would have been more upbeat. But I can't hate. I'll listen to Aretha anytime, any days. I just love listening to her.
I love listening to her. I feel like, I don't know if you caught this when you were watching this episode, or maybe it was my speakers. Her mic seemed low.
It did. Okay. I was going to bring up, I think the backup singers were too high and she was too low. So I think the backup singers were detracting from me a little bit. And that might have just been the mix, but I was hearing too much backup singers and not enough Aretha.
Right.
Yeah, so it's hard to complain about an Aretha. But the one complaint is, I agree with you. Like, I wish I would have heard more.
No,
of her.
To me, it's a compliment. Her voice is that great and powerful, where most singers, good singers of that era and future eras, it would ruin the performance. It becomes okay, not due to her, but like it's due to like the mixing, audio mixing. Mm-hmm. And if you had that, it was great. I mean, it's even though you're right, it's a slower song. It's still, her voice is just powerful. Like, it's awesome. But that's my only knock was like you said, the background singers were too high and she was just too low.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought this was going to be her only song when I was watching.
I did too.
Like, oh man, okay, it'd have been fun to get a more upbeat song, but I still like this. So it's still just great to see Aretha continuing the string of like solid musical guest bookings, interesting musical guest bookings so far.
Yeah, they're very different. Very like you can't put it in. You can't see a pattern with the booking of musical guests. Not really, because it's been all over the place. But I like it. I'm glad that they got the Queen of Soul herself.
Me too. Yeah. Nice surprise. Nice to see Aretha Franklin here. So after the musical performance, weekend update with Charles Rocket. So again, I remembered when I was watching this, I'm like, oh yeah, Charles does have a news anchor background. And to me, that's why he's really tethered to the approach. And what you brought up is being a real newsman, it's hard to do a parody of a newsman. So he's trying to put on that news anchor voice. And to me, that's like a lot. I mean, the writing's not great, but to me, his news anchor persona or affectation is a huge reason why this doesn't work for me.
President Carter said he was, quote, concerned over this unprecedented buildup. President-elect Reagan said, quote, Carter is still president, and I'll stand by whatever decision he makes. And former President Gerald Ford, when reached for comment, said, quote, Poland, where's that?
I didn't know that, so I'm glad you said that he has that background. So it makes sense why they were going to go with that. And even makes sense, I think, why they stuck with it. To me, after the second episode, it was like, this doesn't work. But they kept going with it. And it makes sense why he's reading the joke. Like, he's not delivering the jokes well.
Exactly.
Because he's just reading them like a newsman would, like straight copy. So, like,
Yeah.
it all kind of, it doesn't excuse it, because to me, I'm like, I don't see how anyone could think this was hitting, but it makes sense of why they went in this direction in the first place.
They thought it should just be a straight like news with jokes written, but there's more. It's more of an art to that, being a Weekend Update anchor. It's more you're still like a stand-up comedian,
Yeah,
just
but
in a different format.
I gotta ask, because even though like Gene was there for the first 5 years, there's a lot of people who weren't there. I know all the writers were in. They knew the first 5 years of SNL. They knew whether it was Chevy's year or then when you had Jane doing it and Jane and Danny, like you knew how Weekend Update is what you're trying to achieve with that if you're a comedy writer this season. So to me, it's like, what in the hell are you thinking? Like, let's just keep him doing it straight. Like, you know what Weekend Update is. Why are you doing it this way is what my concern is.
Agreed. And Brian Doyle Murray, he was in the room, right? He was he was on the writing staff, so I hoping maybe he either give him more agency to help with Weekend Update, put him as Weekend Update anchor. He would go on to do it.
Right.
So, we had a better Weekend Update anchor in the room, in the writer's room, than what we would see here.
Yeah, honestly, I think any of them. I think Gilbert. I would have tried Gilbert.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly.
Because at least Gilbert has like a stand-up background.
Right. He would try to be funny, where I don't think so far in the 3 episodes we've seen, the studio audience, you got like like you don't get laughs when he's doing this. So it's just interesting. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, for sure. So the first segment we have Joe Piscopo coming back to do sports. Honestly, I don't think Joe put his best foot forward this time around. I thought it was kind of like his Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard thing to me was more all over the place than the previous one, which I thought was really good.
Thanks, Charlie. Hello again, everybody. Joe Piscopo live. Saturday Night Sports. The big story still. Roberto Duran. Oranges, beef broth, steak, food, gas. Fix? Maybe. If you ask me, the man eats too much. You need proof? Here's a photo of Duran 2 weeks before the fight.
So I don't think Joe put his best foot forward, but that's not the lead here, Jeremy.
No, it's not. I think Joe did good, but if you're doing like we're doing, then you have to know boxing history. So like it's not something clear where like Roberto Duran, that was he had lost that fight and did the no mas. And so people were still talking about that. And a big thing was once Roberto Duran had a fight, he ate excessively and put on a massive amount of weight. And then that was the reason. Then he had to lose a massive amount to get ready for a fight. And so he's saying...
I'm a sports fan, and I didn't even really know that.
Right. Yeah. So that's why it's like the context is hard if you're watching it. And maybe, I don't know if it was clear for 1980, but being a boxing history fan, that's where it comes from. And that's what he was saying. He had cramps. That's why he had to stop. He had cramps because of that. But everyone knew that was BS. Like, he just was getting embarrassed by Sugar Ray Leonard, thought it was a joke, and he said no mas. But I liked it because I know the history, but I can totally see if you don't know that, it falls flat.
Yeah, it was just a little confusing for me. That's all. And then we get a huge moment in SNL history. Eddie Murphy's first speaking role, Jeremy. He's a basketball player, Raheem Abdul Muhammad.
Anytime we get something going good, y'all got to move in on it. In the 60s, we wore platform shoes, then y'all had to wear platform shoes. In the early 70s, we braided our hair, then in the late 70s, y'all had to braid your hair. Now it's 1980, we on welfare, and by the end of next year, y'all gonna be on welfare too.
Yes. What do you think, Eddie? We're getting an Eddie Murphy bit right now.
And the third episode. So, this is a positive for Gene. It didn't take that long to see, you got a talent here. You see him on the last episode in a non-speaking role. And then, hey, we got to get this guy on. So even if it's other people suggesting it, Gene is ultimately the producer. So she said, yeah. So you got to give her credit. The third episode. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's one of those things, it's easy to be like, of course, but like this is one of the most obvious this guy's got talent moments in entertainment history. Like to me, right off the bat, he's 19 years old. And I've heard Joe Piscopo say years later that right before they went on, he heard Eddie Murphy say, the kids from Roosevelt High aren't going to believe this, which is crazy awesome. And just awesome that, and he nails it like that. I mean, to be 19 and to have command like this is just something that's probably the most impressive thing about Eddie Murphy's career to me was not just that he was great on SNL, but to be so young and great. You see it right here at this sketch.
Yeah, and it's not just historic. To me, this was really good. Mm-hmm. To me, it was obvious. Like Eddie immediately brought like a decidedly different, like refreshing energy to the show. That's what it was. Like we're watching mostly pretty good performers so far on the show, but then Eddie, you're just like, whoa, this is like a different tone, a different energy, a different level of performer than what we've been seeing prior to this. Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And I imagine, I mean, that's not hindsight. Like we've been watching, this is we've been going through each episode.
Right.
Comparing it to the first two episodes, I mean, to me, it's obvious that he just brings something different and refreshing to it.
Yeah, he brings that energy, and he brings that thing that I've heard people say who were like, I didn't watch SNL besides Eddie Murphy. When he's on the screen, you have to watch him. You're not, back in the early 80s, you're not taking a bathroom break. You're not going to make the popcorn. You're watching him. Mm-hmm. Everybody else on the cast, if you want to take a break, you can. Bathroom break for this sketch, fine. When you see a guy like this, you got to watch him. He's he has a magnetism and a charisma that you can't teach.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully it's not like a Bill Murray situation where Billy had like a first good episode or two, and then he fell flat, and then he did him as Bill Murray on Weekend Update talking to, or maybe it wasn't on an update, I think it was just a sketch, but he was just talking directly to the audience and saying, hey, I'm better than what I've been showing. Hopefully Eddie can, expand and ride the momentum from this like really good first appearance.
Yeah, and it's also, this is, we talked about it on our first episode previewing it, but David Sheffield, Barry Blaustein, they're new writers, and they, together, Blaustein got the story. His dad sent him the story, like, maybe you could do something with this. I think David Sheffield helped to write some of the lines for this, but that triumvirate that would really help to save the show in these next few seasons, this is also that first working of those three, so it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it was awesome. So awesome. Historic moment, Eddie Murphy's first speaking role on SNL. The other update piece was that they're trying Gilbert again. This is the third update in a row where they've tried Gilbert. This time he comes on as Dr. Calvin Zuko, who's addressing the controversy around his theory about the myth of the female orgasm.
The simple fact is sex is not meant to be enjoyed. So guys, next time a girl says to you, I haven't achieved an orgasm yet, you just say, look, coach, no more push-ups tonight.
The premise is kind of hack, first of all. Especially like when he says like, I've been with a lot of women and not one of them has had an orgasm. Doesn't that tell you something? Like that, to me, that's like a hacky kind of joke. But if you're going to go hack, just lean into it and expand, like do some escalation from that. And they keep trying Gilbert at the update desk, and it just keeps not working for me, Jeremy.
I feel like Gilbert, and I've never watched Gilbert stand up from this time. I've seen it once later on, I watched Gilbert and I like, Gilbert's comedy. Gilbert becomes a really funny guy, in my opinion, and a favorite of mine, honestly. And I feel like when I watched this one, it kind of hit me. Okay, if this was the Gilbert persona that by the time, like 10 years later, when he's in like Problem Child 2 and stuff like that, and you see him, this would be funny in that he's got the voice down and all that stuff. Because I'm picturing it, if that classic Gilbert Gottfried voice doing Calvin Zuko, I would laugh. But he doesn't quite have that yet here. And so to me, everything you said is right, where it's kind of hokey. But if it's hokey and Gilbert has that voice, I think you would laugh.
Yeah.
But without that, it's hokey and it falls flat, in my opinion.
Yeah. So this is before Gilbert found his literal voice and his comedic voice. So he was like, he would end up finding two voices for his comedy going forward, and that served him well. I definitely agree with that. I'm just wondering if Gilbert on Update is just going to be a thing, or if they're just going to see like, oh, maybe we should try someone else. Maybe I
hope so.
Maybe Gail has something for Update. I don't know. Maybe Denny. Yeah. So
anybody.
Yeah.
More Eddie on here, like
exactly.
You definitely need something better than what Gilbert's bringing.
Exactly. So the Bright Spot Weekend Update, obviously Eddie Murphy, Charles Rocket, and Gilbert, but we got Eddie Murphy, so it's hard to totally complain about Update this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the first sketch after Weekend Update, Our Front Door. So it's overly friendly people inviting a junkie who knocked on their door. They invite the junkie in for coffee and a chat.
Well, come on in. Have a seat. He's selling pot holders.
Oh, we were just about to have some coffee. Would you like some?
Yes, please.
Cream and sugar?
Thank you very much.
How many?
9.
He's selling pot holders to make money. So it's I forgot to write down who's playing the father.
Joe's
Piscopo.
father.
Is it Gail?
Yeah, Gail's the mom. Denny and Gilbert are the kids.
Gilbert are the kids, yeah.
And Charles is the junkie.
Yeah.
They said back in the 80s.
Yeah, so I really like this premise. I actually really enjoyed this premise.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah. This is like this sketch oddly kind of worked for me.
Really?
Yes.
I liked the premise. I thought it kind of missed the mark a little bit. I do like the premise, but I kind of felt like this was something out of their element, some of the actors in this sketch. Like they didn't know how to really do drug bits kind of well. I felt like the premise was funny, and I'm like, okay, I can see where it's going. There's a couple jokes that they had in there that made me laugh, but overall I didn't get a lot from it.
Yeah, like the jokes weren't the best. I think Danny was funny. She kept asking him like, do you know Janis Joplin? Do you know Ginger Baker? Like just like an annoying kind of inquisitive kid would. But like the jokes weren't necessarily there, but I did like Gail and Joe's performance as just this cheesy, overly friendly couple who were taking a real interest in something that was like dangerous and seedy and they shouldn't really be taking an interest in. But they were just like, hey, you want some coffee? Let's come have a chat about this. So I did like the juxtaposition of like them being this cheesy, overly nice family with like applying that to a junkie that comes to their door selling pot holders.
Yeah, I like the premise, and I think if you had better jokes, it would have been really great. Because to me, it kind of fell flat, especially I think when Charles is showing his arm in the marks.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was weird, and it was just like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that this is what they're doing, but it feels like you're punching down, and I think that's what I'm getting from some of these
like they're making fun
episodes.
of junkies.
Yeah,
like,
and I don't think that's the intent. Maybe it's not, but when the way it's being delivered, the way the sketch is written, it almost feels like that's what you're doing.
Okay.
And to me, it's like, why would you have him show the marks? Are you trying to educate the audience, or are you trying to just shock and awe people?
Yeah.
Like I didn't, and that kind of threw me for the rest of the sketch.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. When he showed the marks, I was like, oh, that's a little bit much. I think they were going for just an odd couple kind of vibe, like these two vastly different worlds colliding, and like the naivety of the family.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were going for. I don't think that they needed the sniper to come to the door at the end, and that's the problem even with current SNL. A lot of times is they'll have a perfectly fine premise and take it to its completion, but then they'll try to add some sort of button, like current SNL does. They'll have a really good pre-tape, and it'll be brought to you by Uber Eats, and then like it just totally deflate the whole sketch.
Right.
That's what happened here with the sniper. They didn't need that button, I don't think. So it wasn't like the jokes weren't like the best, but like that seemed to be a theme. Like the premise was really solid, but the actual execution left some to be desired. But I really genuinely liked their performances. I think that's kind of what worked for me.
And this was something Jean almost gotten like her job lost after this episode because of standards and practices did not like them airing this sketch.
They didn't. Was it the track marks thing?
I think the track marks, because they have some complaints about some other sketches. Like another one tonight too. But I think this is where I'm like, I could see like they did stuff like they showed drugs like on the first 5 year, Belushi would have like fake cocaine on his nose. So I'm like, I didn't like them doing it, but standards and practice has given her a hard time. I feel very unfair.
Exactly. It never even occurred to me that standards and practices would give them a hard time for that.
So it just kind of shows like not that she didn't make mistakes, but she had a lot of like barriers that even Lauren didn't have in those first 5 years.
Yeah, no kidding. That's very odd. So we go to a pre-tape. It's a short film next by Leon Ichazo.
To perform his duties well, he will need a hearty breakfast and a solitary prayer. Pepe Gonzalez is New York City's only living bullfighter.
And this is one like the Gilbert stars in this, and this is one where I know the image. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I've actually seen the whole sketch until now.
Same.
Yeah, but I know the image of Gilbert in the bullfighter costume and whatnot. So this is about a Pepe Gonzalez, played by Gilbert Gottfried. He works as New York City's only living bullfighter. It's like a flat line for me.
You didn't like this one?
No, I didn't.
I really liked this one. This one I thought it was hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah. This one cracked me up. I thought this is the funniest thing Gilbert's done on the show.
Yeah.
I really cracked just to him talk, but then him out there with like the visuals of him like bullfighting like taxi cabs and all that. I cracked up. Like I really actually thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, the film looked good. Like I think it was well shot. I think they could have spent, I don't know, just for some, like I guess it was maybe a little confusing for me, or like, and I guess I appreciated though that almost the Gonzo style that they were doing, because maybe a lot of like the vehicles and stuff, except for the one that was doing the donuts, that was planned, but it seemed like maybe Gilbert was just coming up on people doing it, so that was kind of good. But yeah, I don't know, like while I was watching this, I guess maybe I was a victim of my own expectations. I'm like, for some reason I think this premise could have been like a little bit, this conceit could have been a little bit
really I thought it was great. This, honestly, as far as pure enjoyment, is my favorite of the short films.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Even over the shoe one in the first episode. I really like that.
Yeah, we both really love the shoe one.
Yeah, I like this one even more. Like, it's just pure. I think the concept of the shoe one is like the best, but this one, the execution, I thought was great. And then him just in the back, like the voiceover telling all the injuries he's had and stuff like that, and keeps going, and then I cannot perform in bed. Like I thought he was just funny. This is Gilbert's best thing for me so far. He's done on these first 3 episodes.
I'll have to think of what Gilbert's best thing for me was. Maybe the Leon in this episode. I don't know.
Yeah. That's probably number 2 for me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to go rewatch this. Then, so a split decision right now.
I like that.
Pepe Gonzalez, which again, Gilbert in the bullfighting costume, that is imagery that I know, just being an SNL fan.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, here's the thing. The next sketch was this sketch, what you were talking about, that Standards and Practices got bent out of shape about?
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
so Vicky is back. Gail Mathias's Vicky character is back.
She is so lunar. I told her she can only get pregnant if she goes all the way and stuff, or if she swims in a pool with guys, or if she sits in a chair when they've just gotten up.
She is accompanying her friend Debbie, played by Denny Dillon, to Planned Parenthood. Okay, I guess, 1980, if you have a sketch revolving around Planned Parenthood, that's gonna raise some eyebrows. I understand this one, not that I, you probably know where I stand on it, but just being in the mindset of a Standards and Practices in 1980, I get more why they would have more of a problem with this than the previous sketch. But I liked this environment for Vicky. I mean, why they? Because it's a very conservative 1980 kind of mindset.
Oh, and then mentioning orgasms?
Yeah, kind of things like that. Just putting myself in the shoes of someone who's kind of uptight in 1980, I can kind of understand why this would be nitpicked.
See, I'm a little bit different. I think with the other one with the track marks, I'm surprised that got on air in 1980. Because that's whoa, really visual. So that one, I'm they let that go on. But for this one, I could see them saying you can't say orgasm this many times. Cut it down.
No, I think the abortion implication.
I
think in 1980, to me, not that I agree with it. I'm just saying,
I know.
For the time, I can see why they would, because you're touching on Planned Parenthood, and she's taking her to see about an abortion. I can see why somebody who's uptight in 1980 might be eh.
But I felt like it wasn't. The abortion part was implied, but if you're not paying attention, you're not thinking that.
Yeah.
You're thinking more she's talking about what it isn't, almost like a birds and the bees, and learning a sex ed in a Valley Girl kind of way. I really enjoyed the sketch.
Oh
honestly.
no, I liked the sketch.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I thought this was a really good. I like watching Gail perform this character. I think this is a much better environment for the Vicky character than the last weird date that she was on with the 40-year-old.
That
was weird. So I really liked the sketch. The reveal that Vicky steals birth control pills from her mom and replaces them with saccharin pills and stuff was really funny. I just think naming Planned Parenthood just at all implies abortion and implies certain things to people just by even saying Planned Parenthood. I think would do that for people. So, but I'm glad that this got on the air.
No, for sure. And I think you're right. In 1980, Roe v. Wade is under 10 years. Mm-hmm. I know Maude had that classic episode in the 70s about it with, B. Arthur played Maude. But, and maybe that's true. Maybe in 1980, Planned Parenthood was more of a scarier name than today. And maybe I'm looking at it from that. Because to me, it's you're right. I know, Planned Parenthood, what goes on and what they're, but it just the way that these characters are, they're playing dumb. It's almost like she doesn't know what. Yeah. She's I went to second base and I'm pregnant, and so they're talking about how to compare orgasms to different things, and it almost feels like it's a birds and the bees kind of conversation.
There's more innocence in there.
So that's why I'm surprised, but I think you're right. I guess just if you say Planned Parenthood in 1980, that would make you nervous.
Just kind of the connotation, I think, of it. And I think it's funny, Vicky telling Debbie that she could get pregnant swimming in pools with guys.
Oh, hilarious. So funny.
Just the typical dumb misinformation that teenagers kind of can share with each other.
You know what it is? They definitely, even though I thought she was great in the first episode doing this, Gail, opposite Elliot, it's definitely weird being she's a teen with this 40-year-old grown man and talk about having another drink, alcohol and stuff. But I thought she was good despite how weird the premise is. But I do think from watching this sketch, I don't know what'll keep happening in the future. I like the fact that she's a young girl doing these adult things, but is so Valley Girl naive.
Yeah.
That idea, the mindset is making me laugh. I do think it's funny.
I agree. Putting her in those situations that are more of adult-like situations, but it doesn't have to be so adult that she's like going on dates with older men.
Right.
We can scale back the adultness from that.
I think if you had a guy on there and he's playing like her age, but he's trying to like go all the way or something in that first episode, and she's just like, she naively kind of like gets out of it by doing her Vicky thing. Like, I think that would have been better than what they did with Elliot Gould in that first one. But I like this one a lot.
So did I. I like seeing Vicky. Gail does a great job as Vicky. So thumbs up here for sure. And then thumbs up for me here. It's like a nice surprise watching the episode when Aretha Franklin comes back and performs a second song. Both of us thought she was only going to get one song, but she's back. She's performing the classic Otis Redding song, Can't Turn You Loose. And I just love watching her perform, and this was so much fun. She's great. Aretha's great.
Still kind of riding high off of the Blues Brothers. I know your favorite guys.
Yeah, I know. This reminds me of course, Can't Turn You Loose reminds you of the Blues Brothers. Reminds everybody of the Blues Brothers. So like, I'd rather watch Aretha perform it.
Absolutely. I was definitely thinking of you when I that I'm like, this is Tom. And you could tell because like a lot of the SNL band was in the Blues Brothers, so it was kind of cool to see that. Like, oh, okay, like this like little.
You mean the best part of the Blues Brothers? The SNL band?
Definitely, yes, by far the best part of the Blues Brothers. By far. No disagreement here. Not from Jeremy. I'm with you on that one. But this was great. She brought the house down, in my opinion. And the band did too. That's why I wanted to reference them. That everybody was clicking in this performance here.
Yeah, so much fun. Pleasant surprise to see Aretha do a second song and just kill it. Like, that's just like, this is my favorite musical performance of the season.
I would agree. I agree.
All right, Aretha Franklin, we love you. So next sketch after Aretha knocked the house down, we have Denny Dillon playing a girl named Mary Louise. She's I guess answering questions from a teacher or something, but she's using a sock puppet, essentially.
Oh, excuse me, Mom. I didn't mean to interrupt your history lesson. I was just bringing you some tea.
Oh, you did, you cow! Oh. Sam, that's Audrey, the maid. You must be kind to her. She's of the lower class. Oh.
To me, this was a reference to one of Ellen Burstyn's, her most famous movie, Jeremy. I think this was almost basically a direct Exorcist reference, but in kind of a clever way.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny. I like how they've used Ellen as a host so far. They've kind of picked and choose their spots. You're not getting a lot of her, and they've kind of done things in a way where she's playing like dramatic in these sketches, but then can turn on the comedy. Mm-hmm. So I've liked how she's been as a host, and then to me, Denny was funny. I thought Denny was hilarious and attacking the maid and doesn't have a pot to piss in. Like, I thought it was very funny and a very good spoof.
Did you think of The Exorcist when this sketch was happening? Okay, because that is probably pretty much what they're going for, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think they, instead of doing a direct Exorcist sketch, which, number one, they had already done it in the Richard Pryor episode, right? And then number two, I think it's just great to, like, put a new spin on it. So basically, this little girl, Mary Louise, was being possessed by that sock puppet. And the stuff that the rude comments that she was making to people through that sock puppet had me cracking up.
And it just shows, it shows how hard it is to write for sketch comedy. Like, and I know you and I being big fans and people listening know that, but it's like, from some of the decisions they made earlier, and you're like, what were you thinking? To then, this is like a really, like, smart, creative concept. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like,
I thought it was.
I don't know where they're going sometimes with this writing, because sometimes I'm like, man, this is brilliant. Like, and this is one where I was like, this is brilliant, because you're right. I thought about the prior episode, and I'm like, they've already done a really, really direct Exorcist, like spoof. Which at that point, it was like 2 years after the movie had come out. But I'm like, it makes sense you have Ellen Burstyn hosting to try to do something. How do you do it? And in this way, phenomenal with the sock puppet, and Denny just nails it.
Agreed. This is a fantastic sketch, and it's refreshing to say that for this season. We've had some good sketches, but this was like a really well conceived, thought out, like really great sketch. And I was just cracking up. Like she was basically like Reagan in The Exorcist saying like cartoonishly mean things to people. They couldn't go that far because it's network television, but it's the same concept. Like it was making me laugh. So,
and I think that's interesting. What I'm seeing here, these first few episodes, is I'm not sure how old Denny and Gail were when they got hired. You know, I'm sure they were in their early to mid 20s, I feel like.
Danny might have been early 30s or late 20s because she had appeared in the third episode of the entire series.
Yeah, with the Rob Reiner one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So but I think it's kind of clutch by the casting that they can play such young characters too. They can play older, but they fit right in to play that youthful, and I think that's been really beneficial for them this season, for especially Denny and Gail. Like you can kind of plug them in different places like that and that variety, unlike them not having or not realizing they have an impressionist with Joe Piscopo.
Sure.
But like I like that the versatility of those two.
Great points and a very well conceived sketch. So Jeremy and I both very positive on that sock puppet sketch. So we go to an Anne Risley showcase. Holy crap. She was in the sketch before, so that was her first appearance of the night. And then we actually get an Anne Risley showcase. So she's playing, it's called the Tony Tennille Show. So it's Tennille from The Captain of Tennille, which, by the way, I'm a big pop culture guy. Today I learned, TIL, that Tennille is her last name. I thought it was her first name. That my whole life, Captain and Tennille, I thought Tennille was her first name.
Oh, no, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I went to school with somebody named Tennille. So I always just clocked that as a first name.
Oh, no. Yeah, Captain.
So it blew my mind. I learned something. This sketch was educational for me because I learned Captain and Tennille, her name was Tony Tennille.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's funny. I thought the sketch was okay.
They said I did it, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Well, I did do it. Went blonde, I mean. At first I thought, oh, what will the captain think? But he loved it. The whole country loves it. And I'm so pleased. But back to your real-life human drama, Gene.
It was okay.
It was fine. It didn't bother me. I wasn't like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Thought it was like a weird kind of premise in a way. I think that was it. Like,
I think they were going for like the difference between Anne's kind of fluffy, upbeat kind of delivery with the heaviness of the interview subject, which was an accused murderer.
Yeah.
So they were trying to go for that kind of like polar opposite vibe. And I don't know if it quite hit. I think they just kind of muddied it a little bit. They could have made it more stark and like really kind of hit you over the head with this is what we're going for. I think Anne's like a decent performer. She's like not the best, but it was like serviceable. To me, I think there was one thing here that stood out as far as maybe SNL history or season 6 history goes. If you caught that.
Tell me, I'm not
I think it was Yvonne Hudson's first appearance.
Was this her first appearance?
I thought so. I don't remember seeing Yvonne Hudson. Well, not in because she had been in the like season 5 and season
right.
But I don't remember seeing her in season 6 so far.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you might be right. Was she in the? Did we see her in the Black Republican? Like, was she one of the extras in that sketch? The Black.
I don't know if she was an extra, but I don't remember seeing her.
Like, well, you know, the one where Eddie Murphy. I think this is definitely her first talking.
Oh, okay. She might have been somewhere in the background in that Black Republican sketch, but I clocked this as the first like speaking part for Yvonne Hudson, coming out as the person working in the court.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think this is a good, serviceable, like workman-like sketch. Just it was fine. Like
a good fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Like I think so. I didn't mind it. It was just kind of like in the middle. It wasn't bad. I definitely wouldn't call it a bad sketch.
Nice for Anne Risley to get some sort of showcase, maybe.
I think that's the strength of it. To me, it's like Anne Risley with, like you said, her personality, and I think Denny, hey, put her in something, and you can try to get lemonade out of lemons sometimes. But it was okay.
Okay. So next we have, aside from Eddie's this being Eddie's first like big appearance, being like a somewhat pop culture historian, this was, aside from the Eddie thing, this was the most interesting segment of the night for me as like a pop culture kind of historian, somebody who remembers things that were in the ether in the 80s.
Yeah.
So we have a short film, and I always forget this. It was directed by and starring Bill Paxton.
I know.
Kind of a random Bill Paxton appearance in this.
I'm loving these short films in season 6 here, getting these these people, like these Hollywood names involved. It's really cool.
Yeah, so there was this song, and it was very popular on the Dr. Demento show, and it's a song by a group called Barnes and Barnes, and it's called Fish Heads. Very weird song.
Yeah.
But if you were around in the 80s, this was like this song, people going, fish heads, roly-poly fish. That was like oddly kind of in the somewhere in the pop culture ether. Like you knew that song existed and people would jokingly kind of sing it. So this was a song good. When I was a little kid, I knew of this song, but I didn't know that they had played the video on SNL. I just knew of the song.
Yeah.
Because they would play it on MTV. So did you know, like, of this song? Like, what's your experience with this weird-ass song?
I've heard the song. I did not. This video was my first time seeing the video.
Okay.
But I heard, like you said, us, so I listen to Pop Culture 5. Being pop culture historians, knew the song. Wasn't my jam. But
no.
it was one of those ones that's like an interesting, like, this was popular in the end. It's like, this song was popular?
It's like an interesting artifact.
Yeah.
From there. And the reason I got so, like, I was excited because I'm like, I didn't know that this had an SNL association.
Right. So I got excited for that. And I got excited because this is December 6th, 1980. So January, February. We're 8 months before MTV premieres.
Yes.
And this is like, precursor to what we're going to get and the type of videos that we're getting, especially in like 1981 and those early 80s. So I thought like, wow, this is kind of like, we have signs, I think, that, the MTV generation were coming more than what people think.
Exactly.
And this is one of them. I really did enjoy this.
So did I. I liked watching it. This video would go on to be played on MTV a fair amount as well. So this turned into an MTV video. To me, the video is interesting to watch. Song's weird, but I can see like how it caught on as a novelty. It's just a novelty song. It's a Dr. Demento kind of song. So you're not grading it on like its musicality necessarily. It's just this weird little earworm novelty of a song. I'm glad it was on the show, Jeremy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It fits what they were doing with these SNL short films, and that they're trying things with a unique look, a unique style to them. And I'm someone who loves the attempt. Yeah. And honestly, it's something I get why. I'm not knocking the current day SNL at all. I've enjoyed season 51 tremendously, but they wouldn't do something this risky now on the show. And I kind of wish they would do something like this more.
Me too.
I get why they wouldn't, but I wish you would get things like this more.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed it. Just super glad it was on the show and something that was a pleasant surprise for me.
Absolutely.
As I went through this episode. So next we have a live sketch, and it's Charles and Anne as a couple getting divorced, and they're talking to their kids about it. And Jeremy, this is one of my guilty pleasure comedy things. I'm a sucker for a premise involving being a little mean to children.
And we just wanted you two to know that, well, sometimes the children think that they might be partially to blame. So we wanted you to know that, well, your father and I consider you two entirely at fault.
What do you mean it's our fault?
No, come on. Now, let's not get upset. It's just that things were better before you came along.
It always cracks me up. We've talked about, like, we're both wrestling fans. We've talked about the Ted DiBiase bit where he says he's going to give the little kid money if he can dribble a basketball 10 times, and then after the 9th dribble he kicks it away. Like, that's so mean to a little kid, but that always just one of my guilty pleasure comedy things is just like, if you're just a little mean to like children, that always kind of cracks me up. So I was like immediately bought in to the premise, to like the conceit of this sketch, blame the kids. So they're essentially sitting down with the kids and telling them they're getting divorced, and then they tell them that it's actually your fault that we're getting divorced. I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought it was pretty good, honestly. I thought it was executed pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Charles was okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was all right, actually, in this. Like, and he had some good lines. And I liked Ann.
I thought Ann
and I'm
was
like,
good, yeah.
I feel like Ann kind of probably the MVP for me in this sketch, and made me kind of ask, like, well, how come we're not seeing more of her?
Right.
Like, this is the first time I was like, if she can bring this, we should be seeing more Ann in
They're
this
like
show.
pushing her stuff to like the end of this episode,
and it's
getting
weird.
all of her work like here at the end.
She's not like that kind of performer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like she's doing the weird stuff that's like, okay. It's like, this could have, like, opened the show. I thought it would have been funny, actually, in the open. Like, you know, like, it would have been hilarious. Like, that first sketch after, like, the monologue.
Right.
But I think this was a really good sketch.
Me too. I really enjoyed this. The kids pleading with the parents to give them another chance was just, like, the right amount of pathetic, and you felt sorry for the kids, but it was still funny. And it kind of bordered on, like, am I feeling too sorry for the kids? But then they would bring it back where I'd be like, okay, this is still funny.
Right.
So so it just really very much worked for me. So we have a musical performance. We were promised Keith Sykes, damn it. And we got our Keith Sykes.
He's the real headliner of the music.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
I'm
like, but they're waiting till the end to bring out the headliner, right?
Sure.
So it's Keith Sykes performing BIGTIME.
I push a hand back out of my face. Then I rock the rafters right off this place. Woo! Well, it's all right, you and me.
I thought it was good, maybe a little on the boring side, just maybe a little cookie cutter, rock and roll. It reminded me of Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran.
Oh, interesting. That's
like,
a good comparison.
The cadence and just the vibe and stuff, which isn't bad, but it's like just kind of cookie cutter to me.
And I think, and that's also being fair, what the musical performances we've seen this season and what early SNL gave it. You were getting a big variety of musical performers and different sounds. So this was almost, I feel like you would kind of get this nowadays more.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone has, like, it's like a basic pop single and they're on SNL. Like, but today you would get like the funky like set designs and stuff to kind of mask it, where they weren't doing that back then. So it was just kind of like basic in a way.
Yeah.
But not bad at all. I don't think it was a bad performance.
Exactly.
It just was, you know, and also maybe it's not easy coming behind the Queen of Soul either.
No.
So,
no.
You know, I'll give Keith a little leeway with that too.
Exactly. I would have taken the third Aretha Franklin, but it's hard to expect. I only expected one Aretha Franklin performance, so asking for three is just greedy.
Yeah, she probably would have wanted some moolah.
Oh yeah,
third one.
yeah.
Third one.
It's like you're gonna have to pay for that, and they're like, okay, well, we got Keith Sykes, so checkmate.
Yeah. Yep. Like, we got you, Aretha.
Exactly. So yeah, not bad musical performance at all. And then we head to our final sketch of the evening. Lonely Old Lady. So Gail Mathias plays a little girl who goes up to a old lady's door, played by Ellen Burstyn. I think it's to mess with the old lady, and then the old lady invites her in.
When my boy Jim was little, he had the idea that if you put the seeds for tomatoes and lettuce and carrots all in the same hole, you could grow a salad.
Is it true you never change your clothes?
I used to tease him that he ought to water it with vinegar and oil.
Turns out she's just lonely. I think I got what they were going for. I think they set it up in a confusing way, though I don't think they made the premise or what was even happening clear enough.
No, I kind of felt like there almost was no premise. It was just seeing this contrast, these two people interact. Like, I felt like it was Halloween. I don't know if you get it flat out, like Halloween being said, but I felt like that was the premise.
Maybe,
like this was a Halloween thing. That's why Gail's in the bunny outfit. I thought Gail was kind of funny. Once the dialogue was, you know, she comes in, I thought Gail was kind of funny. in some parts, but it was random. I kind of gave it more of a pass because it's the end of the show and then the night,
and we
so
haven't
you're gonna
had
get
the
those
most
weird
strong.
ones.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes, it's both been Denny, Dylan, solo pieces.
Mhm.
Which the first one wasn't good. Last week was a lot better. Maybe Denny didn't have a solo thing to end, or they wanted to do something different. They actually did kind of set up the scene and the premise, but in the middle of the sketch, they established that she was supposed to be a scary lady. So I think what was happening was that Gail, her friends dared her to go to the scary lady's house and knock on her door, but then she got invited in, and instead of being scary, the lady was just lonely. And that could have been a good idea, but they just muddied up the presentation of it.
Yeah, because throughout it, I always just thought it was just a lonely old lady. I
Yeah,
didn't think
you're
the
not
scary.
exactly. And then in the middle, Gail says something like, "Oh, I thought you were blah blah blah," and oh, she's supposed to be a scary person, but they could have just wrote that into the beginning of the sketch to more cleanly set it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like a sketch writing 101 kind of
Did you
thing.
think when Gail knocked on the door, did she seem scared?
I didn't clock her demeanor.
Okay.
Really? If she seems scared, it's not something that I really took note of.
Well, because that's my thing. I didn't get the vibe, even
Yeah.
to your point. If she played scared coming to the door, maybe I would think okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the vibe that she was afraid of the lady.
Yeah. Or just give me a 10-second conversation between her and her friends before she knocks on the door.
That's what I thought. Honestly, she could, and honestly, it could be Denny and Ann, or if you just want one of them, fine. But
Right.
just that convo.
No, go do it. Go do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This lady creeps me out. Just go say something to her. And then
look at the Planned Parenthood sketch. The beginning is what? Outside the door, Gail and Denny talking, and they go in.
Right.
Why can't you do the same thing here?
it just takes 10, 15 seconds of setup, and the whole sketch makes a lot more sense.
I feel like even though these are sketches, it's they still need to have a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes these writers are missing that, where it's just here, we're starting in the middle, we're going to go to a beginning, and then we're going to go to an end. And it's huh. Or there's just no end. It's just they're missing the part of it sometimes that I'm even though they're sketches, it's not like a short book or a movie. You need to have it make sense to me at least.
Any written piece, whether it's a movie, television show, sketch, it needs to have a decipherable kind of narrative.
But that's why it's weird, because you have a miss here with that. It was okay. I thought Gail was just her being a really good performer.
Sure. Yeah,
but then you have the tutor with the sock puppet with Denny earlier on, which was really, to me, a really brilliant, thought out sketch. So
Absolutely.
It's I don't know where to go with these writers here. It's all over the place.
Exactly. And I thought Gail sounded a lot like Lorraine when Lorraine would do a kid voice.
Yeah.
I couldn't, if I close my eyes, I'm that to me, that would just that I would think that was Lorraine.
Some people were saying Gilda-esque, but I think more Lorraine-esque.
Oh, when Lorraine would do children's voices, it was so it was almost squeaky, but in a froggy sort of way. And Gail sounded exactly like that. But I thought Gail did a really, really good job. It wasn't her fault, nor was it Ellen Burstyn's fault that the sketch didn't make a ton of sense.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. They did the best with what they had.
Yeah.
I say it was okay.
Yeah. So there we have it. Our last sketch of the evening. Episode 3 is in the books. And if you're hearing more of a pep in our step, it's because Jeremy, am I crazy? This was actually a good episode, a decent to good episode.
Yeah. This is the best. Of the 3, it's the best so far.
By far.
Yeah. And even take away last week, the second episode, comparing it to the first one with Elliot Gould. There's not too many knocks I have where I'm this was a bad sketch or it didn't hit for me. And there's a lot that I laughed at. I thought was funny.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this episode. And hey, I'll say this: season 6. I won't put words in your mouth, but for me, they're keeping me on my toes. I really don't know what to expect each episode here.
It's kind of an exciting watch so far.
Absolutely.
Even in the bad stuff has kind of gotten very specific reaction from us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's been very exciting and very revealing in a lot of different ways here.
Yeah,
Like that, what I'm getting from it. So far.
yeah,
So far.
yeah, definitely. So, any reasons for optimism with this particular episode?
Well, obviously, our guy, Mr. Eddie Murphy, seeing him tonight, that's a huge reason for optimism. And as time goes on, it'll be proven more and more correct. Arguably, what we saw with this episode is the speaking debut of, for sure, a Mount Rushmore cast member. Some may argue the greatest of all time. And that's something that you can definitely, it's hard to top that. I thought there were other highs of the night. It's hard to top that, though, like seeing Eddie Murphy do his thing.
Yeah, Eddie's I said Eddie has entered the chat, and Eddie definitely has entered the chat. That was the top story of the episode for sure. I think Joe Piscopo and Denny Dillon continuing for me to be the leaders of the cast. I think that's just like they're especially Denny. Like every week, I'm like, she surprises me. Like she's such like anything she's in, I'm just kind of like wanting to watch her because she's such a cool performer.
Yeah, I think Denny was showing that, like, I mean, we'll see what the rest of the episodes give us, but right now, she's my question mark of why did you let her go after this season? They're like, but I enjoy that Gail's Vicky character. Like, I think it's a shame that they only had it for this year because the way we talk about, Sherry O'Terry and Simmer Down Now and other like characters, it could have been up there with that if it would have had a few more seasons to run.
For sure. I think Gail's showing to be a really top-notch performer. I think she's showing to be really good. One of my big reasons for optimism, too, is that I'm not sure that anything in this episode truly sucked.
No, I don't
think. Yeah, I really don't think. Like, I think every segment it was like that was interesting, or even the last one. It's like, well, it didn't suck. They just needed to like rearrange it and be more clear about what the premise was, but it didn't suck. So I was just happy to watch this episode and say nothing like stood out and sucked to me.
The closest was Weekend Update.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
Eddie saves that whole bit, but like Gilbert and Charles Rocket were like the probably that was my down for the episode was. Weekend Update minus Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think objectively that's the case. So, areas of improvement for them coming out of this episode?
Writing. Like I look at, to me, you always hear the best cast, you got to have a good writing staff and good performers. And some years it's good writing but not good performers, or it's the opposite in other years. What I'm seeing so far, you got some good performers here in this cast. The writing is off more so far. We'll see how it goes when these 3 episodes. If I had to pick one that I'm beefing with more, it's the writers more than the performers.
Yeah, I think the writers seem to be allergic, or many of the writers seem to be allergic to escalation. So they'll have like a kernel of a premise, and they'll start to build on that, but they shouldn't be afraid to build more on these premises and take it places. And I just think they maybe come up with an idea and then they're just like, well, job is done. Good work, everybody. And then they high five and everything, but let's take it somewhere. Let's add some elements and then let's be a little more clear about our intentions. Like, I think sketch comedy fans sometimes feel insulted when premises and things are spoon fed to them, but oftentimes there's reason that it is because you want to err on the side of making it more clear. If you're doing just like a 4-minute burst, a 3 or 4 minute sketch, you want to make your premise clear.
Absolutely.
I think the writers maybe sometimes have trouble with that and trouble with escalation. So yeah, for me, it's like a writing thing, definitely. And I'm still a little bit worried about Gilbert as well.
Yeah, even though this was his best episode so far, I saw the improvements, but Gilbert's not out. He's not out the woods yet for us. He's still got some splaining to do.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. In the next episode, Jeremy, we have host Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Musical guests Ellen Shipley and James Brown.
Yeah.
How about that?
Memorable for a lot of different reasons. I know this episode because I said earlier this one was December 6th, 1980. 2 days later, December 8th, 1980, is John Lennon gets killed that night, and that gets mentioned on the next episode too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hanging over because, John Lennon, he gets killed in New York. The show's obviously live in New York. So I remember seeing this episode years ago because that kind of, you get that, in my opinion, you got the vibe, the country, but the city was still in shock from
Yeah,
that.
for
So
sure.
definitely want to see how that looks with like adult eyes. I haven't seen it in years, but yeah, so it's kind of eerie. I've been thinking about that. Like 2 days later, like music history, everything changes,
Yeah, for sure.
that night. But yeah, that hangs over the next episode for sure.
Yeah, so Jamie Lee Curtis, we're both fans of Jamie Lee Curtis. For sure.
Yes,
This was her most famous thing was Halloween around this time. And then The Godfather's Soul, we're going to see. I'm very excited about that.
James Brown, got a lot of stuff to talk about with James Brown next week. I love James Brown.
Yeah. So we're very much looking forward to that. This was a good episode of SNL, this Ellen Burstyn episode. So Jeremy and I are riding high. We're enjoying that. And man, I'm looking forward to talking more. Jamie Lee Curtis, Ellen Shipley, James Brown. Let's go.
Yeah. You share a nickname with James Brown. Hardest working man in podcasting. That's you, Thomas Senna.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's all going to come together next week, man. Can't wait.
Can't wait. See you then, buddy.
All right, see you.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Be sure to subscribe and follow wherever you listen to our podcast. You can also follow us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. Thanks for listening. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.